Hello, my name is Chris George, and I am the founder of Altered. So for the last 17 years, I have been managing large projects and programs for Fortune 500 and global firms. And these have really run the gamut from large on-prem to cloud migrations, different types of integrations, mergers and acquisitions. So I've really worked with a lot of different type of clients and in a lot of different industries. In 2020, I managed a VR project for Sempra Energy, which was building environments for their linemen to practice in before they actually go out and do anything with live wires. And that really opened my eyes to the development process of virtual reality and how it works. I've been a consumer of it for many years, but I had never actually seen what it took to build something. Now, on the home front, I really enjoy making home haunted houses, and these are usually with around 4,000 annual attendees. Been doing for about 8 years, and I have brought together a team, and we all do this for free. We usually donate the proceeds that we get from this, but we put on a real show, and it's about a 15 to 20 minute experience, and so far I haven't had somebody say didn't like it. Nowadays, VR has a couple of problems, but I think at first it starts with nobody says, hey, let's go check out the new VR experience that just opened up. That doesn't happen. The mainstream consumer, VR is more of a niche product. It's not something that you would actively seek out normally. Because quality just really isn't there. When you look at today's major players, they are all releasing the same types of graphic fidelity. The immersion is relatively low, and the quality just isn't where I think it should be. And they've really dropped the ball in storytelling. And a good example of this is what's been happening in the Marvel Universe, where when you let the storytelling go and just focus on quantity, the public they're no longer entertained. And when you look at it just becoming a revenue stream, then you lose a lot. And finally, these experiences, some of them running on PlayStation headsets, they're relying on really legacy technology and outdated development processes that just there's no innovation and there's no real ability for them to grow. And this is what it really looks like. Standard space is about 30 by 30. So this is where you would put your headset on, go in, and just roam around while you're walking around. You're interacting with things, but again, it's empty space. And most of the stories are just basic. It's just a wrapper to be able to sell you that ticket and just get you in the door. But there's no real cohesiveness between any of the stories they're telling. When you drop users in, again, you're just kind of all standing around in that same place. Usually it's around like a video game. You're shooting something, you're defending things. I think that limits the market you can capture, because some people, like my wife, she's not going to go to something like that. You can't talk her into that. And around $40 to $60, which I think per person puts that out of range of a lot of people. And I think that's a problem. So what does the Altered solution look like? Well, first and foremost, we are going to put the user experience first. We're going to look at what the market wants, and we're going to give them what they want. At the same time, we're going to maximize the amount we can make within that limited space that we have. And we do that by being scalable. And an Altered experience, we're going to be able to have 72 active users within that VR environment at a time. The industry standard today is 8. Expansion only depends on the physical footprint and additional network capacity we would need to put in to accommodate those users. And we're going to blend VR and physical interactive effects together. We want to immerse that user into the environment. We want them to have not just sight, but sound, smell, touch. I want them to be able to, touch a button on the wall, and you hit that and something happens within that virtual environment. We're going to make this in every sense, a total immersion within that VR environment. So what does that solution actually look like? Well, this is our current mock-up. We're at about 5,000 square feet. Again, that is 72 users within that environment in a VR, in the VR experience at a time. You'll go through groups of 6, and from the time you put the headset on to the time you take the headset off will be 30 minutes or more. Again, we have 2 lanes to maximize the amount of folks we can push through. These, for phase 1, these will be duplicate VR experiences. You're going to go up one side or go up the other. It'll be the same. We're going to be able to keep our wait times low because our ticketing system will decide who is going to be able to come in and when, and we'll stage them within that lower half. Maybe 15 minutes. We'll have some entertainment in there for them as well. And then we will put them through the appropriate lane. We'll also be able to have standby customers. So if somebody comes in and they would like to go in, and someone who has a reservation doesn't show up by a certain amount of time, I can then take that new person's money and put them right through and slot them into that person's that slot. So we are going to try and push through 6 people every time we run through as much as possible. I will be using my own internal Wi-Fi and network services. We will not rely on any kind of network connectivity or Wi-Fi with within a location. And again, we will have our own digital ticketing system to integrate with this solution. These are going to be extremely immersive environments. You're going to have 6 degrees of freedom, which means you can just walk around. Again, sight, sound, touch, and smell. And we will use graphics that push boundaries within today's VR environments. What you can see there is one of our actual VR environments. There's going to be repeatability because within each of our Halloween and Christmas experiences, you will be able to make 2 decisions. Now, these decisions will be made as a group, but they will drive the story and give you 4 possible endings. So much like a choose your own adventure book from back in my day. And I think the most important part of all this is $30 for 30 minutes. Now we can charge the customer, $40, but then give, out, 10% coupons or whatever, to make sure we hit that mark. But my goal is for us to make on each person $30. And everything we talk about from here has that in mind. For $20, I'm going to give you, as soon as you leave, a USB stick with your experience, giving you the first-person view and the third-person view via cameras that will have stationed through the experience, as well as a link to a copy of that MP4 on the cloud. So, you know what? Take it home, put it on your own videos, talk about how cool it is. I'm going to give you the ability to do that. So now that you know what I'm doing, how do I stack up against what is out in the market today? And that really starts with how pretty much everybody, for the most part, runs. And for this example, I'm really focused on Sandbox VR. They've had some very big funding successes lately. Zero Latency, kind of same thing, and Hologate. All 3 of those have been doing some pretty cool things. But it is a 8-person max experience. Again, you're in that 30-30 space. The game really doesn't change. The story doesn't so much change if you go through the experience again. And again, you're at that $40 to $60 price point, which I just don't agree with. So how do I stack up against that? Well, I'm going to do the same thing, but push 72 people through at a time. And I'm going to give them an experience that is beyond just, shoot this monster or shoot this alien. I want to give people a story to go through. I want them to get it in the feels when they're walking through this thing, and to come out and go, man, that was something that kind of touched me, and it was a cool experience. As a nerd, I look at the holodeck from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Growing up, that's what I watched, and I was like, man, that's what people want. And so that's what really we're shooting for, and we're going to do it on a much larger scale than the industry today. So how big is that industry? Well, in 2024, it stood at about $5.2 billion. and it is only expected to rise. This is just a company I happen to like, but you can go do the research yourself and look wherever you want. They're all right around that 26 to 28% growth rate. So the market is ripe for somebody to come in and start innovating and start taking some of that market share as this business grows. So what kind of traction do we have? Well, today we have a location. We are in the final stages of finalizing our agreement with Markov Sonder Forest, and we will use them as not only our first time, let's premiere this for the world, but they will become our incubator moving forward. They can accommodate up to 3,000 people max an evening. They frequently sell out, and the location we will be in is where their audience will need to wait to go through the haunted trail. They'll have the opportunity to go through our experience as well. We have a studio on board who can take all the crazy that's in my head and tone it down and put it into something that we can actually create. These are industry veterans, not just from the VR industry, but also from Hollywood as well as the gaming industry. What we're building is akin to a game, but it's more like an interactive movie. So we have agreements in place for our MVP, and we are currently negotiating an agreement for phase 1. With all of that said, we have developed a timeline and budget that really takes everything that we want to do into effect. So let's look at our business model, and we're going to take that location that we're going to start with, and again, I can be open a certain number of hours during the day, and we are going to use that as a pilot for our future franchisees. We are going to take this experience and we are going to templatize it so that we can recreate that for ourselves or others anywhere in the world. We will have self-owned and operated pop-ups. I have stories I'd like to tell. I will be able to do that within those pop-ups. Those will be wholly owned and operated by Altered. We can build custom experiences. If a franchisee would like a custom experience, we're happy to do that at a acceptable rate. Netflix is currently looking for partners for what they're calling Netflix House. They're opening 2 locations in 2025, and they're looking to expand in 2026 and 2027. They are looking to the future of their in-person business to be partners that can deliver, engaging content with their IP, and I plan to pursue them quite a bit. Through my day job and through those on my board, we have enterprise clients that we are going to be able to take this solution to and approach around training models, around different scenarios that we could create for them, and really selling this product back into the enterprise market using tools that they already have available to them. So we're not going to introduce anything that's out of the ordinary to enterprise clients. So let's talk about what I'm calling phase 1. And really that starts with a minimum viable product. Now, in industry terms, that means we're going to create something that's very small and not anywhere near what we're going to do for Halloween and Christmas, but we are going to take the stories from local American Legion members out here in the Southern California area, and we are going to, number 1, videotape 10 of them telling their stories from the service and things they would like people to know and stories they would like told. We're going to give them the opportunity to be recorded with a 360-degree camera and recreate them, so you could put a headset on, sit down, listen to them not only say it, but then have that world melt away as they're talking and turn into whatever that solution may be. Maybe it's a beautiful night in Vietnam that a guy looked up kind of from Forrest Gump. So we want to create something that our service members can go, okay, I'm saving these stories. And we're actually going to turn around and offer that to other American Legion posts, and we want that to be a service that we provide as we grow. But really, we're going to prove out the foundation for how we deliver a high quality wireless experience to that headset. This will be seated. This will not be a walk around type experience, but we will be able to prove out, hey, the development process, how we're doing this, we have that down. So now let's immediately turn around and start working on Halloween. We are kicking off the MVP on April 1st. Going into Halloween, we will have, again, that experience that we showed you with the 2 lanes, which we consider the start of phase 1. Phase 1 really just consists of Halloween and Christmas with Markov's, Haunted Forest, and with Christmas at Kaleva. But that is going to give us enough knowledge and enough lessons learned that we can turn around and really improve upon what we're doing in meaningful ways and focus where we need to focus, using tools that I've learned over the last almost 20 years within the IT industry. And again, we're selling tickets. So, the idea is going into year 1, we spend, close to $400,000, and we make back up as much as we can. I'm not looking for investors who are, going to want to turn around and think that year 1, I better be giving them a big fat dividend check, because we may break even. We may be a little bit under that, but you know what? We're going to learn a lot, and we're going to be able to turn around and turn that into a product, which is Altered Phase 2. Within Altered Phase 2, February of 2026, we will launch our franchise program. We'll do this at the Transworld location in St. Louis. They have a huge trade show where anybody that runs a haunt or a Christmas experience will be there to look at the latest and greatest. We'll take exactly what we did for Markov's. We'll park it there. I'll run people through, and then happy to sign a contract and get one ready for you for the coming season. In LA, in May, we will do a pop-up. This will be in the LA area, so that we can capture the LA crowd as well as the Orange County crowd. This will be with some improvements to the stories that we told within, more on the Halloween side, but we'll modify some of that and create an LA SoCal themed experience. In July, the heat of July, we will open up a New York pop-up on Roosevelt Island. There is a smallpox hospital that is going to feature prominently within that story, that I want my guests to be able to walk out of my experience, and if they want to go down and actually look at that location and see what they just saw virtually in the real, they can. And again, that'll be an East Coast themed experience. September, November, with any luck at all, we've got some franchises going. I am not accounting for any of that revenue within my current financial models, because I don't know if anybody will buy this. But if they do, I'm only going to take on 2 clients that first year, because I do not want to overtax my team. Once again, Markov's Haunted Forest and Christmas at Kaleva. We will debut a new experience. So if you went last year and you come this year, you'll get to see something all new. And we will also launch an augmented reality experience where within the midway of the Markov's Haunted Forest experience, you can put a pair of glasses on and see different effects happening around you that nobody else is going to be able to see. We're also going to take what we've done and see what happens at the IAAPA. I am not anticipating any revenue coming from this. I just want to take what we've done to that point and all those lessons learned, and we go in and see what the big dogs think of it. I'm really thinking of the Halloween and Christmas trade show as the almost like the MVP for what we're going to do for the IAAPA, because I really want that to be dialed in. We're also going to run an LA pop-up. This, again, will be in that same location that we had put the May pop-up in. We'll run Halloween and Christmas. So all that sounds great, but what is it actually going to cost to do that? Well, what we're doing is taking what we did in phase 1, and we're just going to park that down at Transworld. There will be very little innovation between those 2 experiences, maybe a couple of tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it's good. We're just going to drop it within Transworld. We will run our own pop-up within LA that we are going to create an additional unit that we can use somewhere else. So we'll have the location that we created within phase 1 that went to Transworld. We're going to create a whole new one. And then we're going to take that one and send it to New York. And we will use that equipment to run the New York location. You can see that with LA, obviously we're taking more of that cost back on us, so we're not quite making as much, but with New York, we see the benefits of doing it this way by our gross profit. We'll be moving back into Marcos Haunted Forest and moving into the IAAPA. Again, there is revenue from the Haunted Forest, but I'm treating that as a kind of a separate entity right now. Ditto for Christmas. So just like we did the year before, we'll run the same thing, and with new experiences and with the augmented reality layered in. We'll be hitting the attractions trade show, the IAAPA, and that'll pretty much finish out what we're doing on the East Coast. On the West Coast, we will have our LA pop-up. So LA will again be the new one of the new experiences that we created. We'll just set it up in LA. We're expecting that to really be our best performer out of all three, just because all of the lessons learned will roll into that experience, and we put on a show that is phenomenal. Again, you're looking at LA, New York, and then the LA Halloween and Christmas pop-ups, giving us a total ticket revenue of about 1.3. We're looking at costs around $419. That can fluctuate a little bit, but for the most part, we think those are pretty solid. We will have, for that additional cost, a new VR experience that we can offer our franchisees and obviously Marcos Haunted Forest, and hitting 2 major trade shows. So I think that's pretty good cost, which gives us a profit of around $900K. Now there's expenses that are going to come out of that, but I'm working very hard to make sure that we stay and our budgets are pretty tight, and our numbers are pretty tight.
I'm coming up with 32.33, repeating of course, percentage of survival.
Oh, that's a lot better than we usually do.
Alright, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Dragon!